Does everyone really know? Kajol's skin used to be this dark before, and now there's a drastic change. She suddenly became several shades lighter. And not just Kajol, Priyanka Chopra, Shilpa Shetty, Deepika Padukone, Bipasha Basu. All of their skin also turns white overnight. And then we have celebrities like Priyanka Chopra, who used to be dark, then became fair, and after going to Hollywood, went back to her natural skin color. So, how do these celebrities almost overnight become white? Because on the contrary, a few years ago, when a model named Gauri Khan went to Shilpa Shetty's beauty spa, and when she got an expensive skin whitening treatment there, forget about becoming fair. Her skin started peeling, she developed wrinkles, and big dark spots appeared all over her face. And this is not just a single case. Many girls, when they got skin whitening treatments to look like celebrities, developed yellowish-brown patches on their faces, which is called ochronosis. Some experienced redness, irritation, itching, rashes, swelling, and many other side effects on their skin. And just in 2020, a girl actually had a heart attack because of the treatment, and she died on the spot. So, the question still remains. What exactly are these celebrities doing differently that they become fair overnight? But when a normal person tries the same thing, they experience dangerous side effects. Also, these celebs have fame, money, everything. So why are they so obsessed with whitening their skin? Is fair skin scientifically more attractive? Plus, you already know that all of us Homo sapiens originally evolved in Africa, and from there, we migrated and spread all over the earth. So why do people from different countries look so different from each other today? And if I talk about India, we are all Indians living in the same country, so how come some of us have very fair skin and some have very dark skin? How is there such a big variation? I know you'll say South Indians live closer to the equator, so they're darker, and North Indians live farther from it, so they're fairer. But then, if South Indians spend 3 or 4 generations in North India or Europe, will they also become fair? Besides, forget about the whole country. Even within a single state, we can see that some of our friends get tanned very quickly in the sun, while some don't get tanned at all. So why does this happen? Well, to find the answers to all these questions, we have to understand the basics of skin color. Why is a person like Akil dark or fair in the first place? Take a close look at this map. Here you can clearly see that people living near the equator have the darkest shade of skin. And as we move away from it, the skin color starts to become fairer. This happens because our skin, our hair follicles, the iris of our eyes, and even the inner ear, yes, even the inner lining of our ears, have a special type of cells called melanocytes. And these cells basically produce 2 types of color pigments. Melanin, which is dark brown to black in color, gives the skin a darker color, and the second is pheomelanin, which is a yellow to reddish-brown pigment, and gives the skin a lighter color. Usually both eumelanin and pheomelanin are present in our body, and the ratio of these two determines the color of our skin. That means if someone has dark skin, it's because they have more eumelanin in their body, and if someone is fair, they have more pheomelanin. But now the question arises, why do we even need 2 types of melanin pigments? An even bigger question is why melanin, this pigment, evolved in humans and why we see so many variations of it today. The story behind this is quite interesting, and we will also talk about the exact treatments that help celebrities become fair overnight, how much those treatments cost, what the procedure is, and what the side effects are. And now let's get back to our video. We were understanding the history behind skin color and human evolution. So about 1.2 million years ago, our ancestors, used to be furry, but as Africa changed from dense forests to open grasslands, and our ancestors now needed to run after prey, a problem arose. Running with fur in an equatorial place like Africa was like running in Rajasthan's heat while wearing a thick sweater. On top of that, because of the fur, we couldn't even sweat, and that's why, ultimately, our ancestors' fur gradually started to shed. Now, obviously, it wasn't just that our ancestors didn't need fur, so it started falling off. Just like if I wish to fly today, it doesn't mean that wings will suddenly grow on me. Evolution works on the principle of natural selection. I've explained this entire concept with examples in great detail in my video, which you can watch after this video by clicking on the I button or by searching for it. because many people don't understand exactly how evolution works, what its process is. And that's why many people reject it without even understanding it, as if there's no logic behind it. Anyway, let's continue our story now. So unfortunately, without fur, their problems got even worse. Without fur, the skin's ultraviolet protection was also gone. And now our body desperately needed a natural sunscreen, because ultraviolet rays from the sun are very harmful. And it was at this point that evolution brought about melanin, whose dark color could strongly block the sun's harmful ultraviolet radiations. And this basically started working like a physical barrier, which would scatter and reflect ultraviolet rays so that they wouldn't penetrate the deeper layers of the skin and cause diseases like cancer by damaging the DNA. So in a way, technically, because of melanin, our skin took over the role that our fur used to play. And that's why the first species of Homo sapiens born in Africa, they were all dark. But this continued for only a while. After this, around 100,000 years before current era, our ancestors started wandering out of Africa for the first time in search of food, and then migrated towards Europe and Asia through the Middle East. Now, obviously, as they moved away from the equator towards the poles, the amount of ultraviolet radiation was dropping. But the color of these early Homo sapiens was still dark, so they didn't need melanin. In the newly discovered areas, melanin completely blocked ultraviolet rays. Because of this, a cascade of different problems was being triggered. Basically, with the help of ultraviolet light, our skin produces vitamin D, and this vitamin D helps in calcium absorption. But now the problem was that there was no ultraviolet light, and therefore no vitamin D. And without vitamin D, there were extremely weak bones, which was a big problem. In fact, even today, if you look at Europe, the white people there, who are racially called Caucasians, have much lower bone density compared to Africans. And that's why you will see more cases of bone fractures and osteoporosis, meaning brittle, weak bones among them. So to tackle this problem, our ancestors went through evolution once again, and a lighter pigment was developed called pheomelanin. Because of its yellow to reddish-brown color, it basically acted as a weaker physical barrier. Because of this, we were at least able to get enough ultraviolet light necessary to produce vitamin D. So, because of this ratio of melanin, skin gets lighter as you move towards the poles, and darker near the equator. Specifically, Indians have a brown skin tone because they are closer to the equator. But man, even within brown color, there's so much variation. Some people have a very light brown skin tone, while others have dark brown. How does this happen? Let's examine the effects of ultraviolet radiation on skin. Keeping that in mind, an American dermatologist named Thomas Fitzpatrick developed a scale, the Fitzpatrick scale. According to this scale, there are 6 types of skin. Type 1 skin is what we call completely pale white, very fair, which never tans, only burns. This is usually found in Northern Europe, Scandinavia, and the British Isles. Type 2 skin, still white but darker than Type 1, which tans slightly, but generally burns in the sun. This skin type is seen in Central Europe, Northern America, and the Mongolian plains. Type 3 skin, skin with a golden, honey, or yellowish hue that tans uniformly and only occasionally burns. This color is usually seen in Southern Europeans and East Asians. Type 4 skin, moderate brown or olive skin which tans gradually and rarely burns. This skin type is generally seen in Mediterranean regions, parts of Asia and Latin America. Type 5 skin, brown skin that tans immediately and never burns. This skin color is mostly found in Central Africa, South India, and some parts of the Middle East. Type 6 skin, darkest brown to black skin color, which always tans but never burns. This skin type is found in sub-Saharan Africa. That means, in short, on this scale, people's skin shades are categorized into 6 types, from type 1 to type 6. As you go from type 1 to type 6, the ratio of melanin keeps increasing and pheomelanin gradually drops. And because of this, we see different types of skin colors in people. Those who have more pheomelanin are fair, and their skin burns quickly in sunlight instead of tanning. And that's why you'll usually see burn spots or freckles on such skin. And those who have more melanin are darker and get tanned very quickly. But look, skin color, just like height, is a polygenic trait, meaning multiple genes control it. And another thing, skin color also depends a lot on external factors, like geographical location, intensity of ultraviolet rays, and even our diet. But the concentration of melanin and the ratio of both are the major factors. And that's why the Fitzpatrick scale mainly considers that. Now, if that is the case, then if we stay in a dark room with air conditioner on 24/7, or if we move to Europe, will our skin also become as white as theirs? Absolutely not, because whites mostly belong to the Caucasian race. That's why it is already genetically predetermined that their skin color will be white, because their Caucasian ancestors had light skin color. But in the case of Indians are an admixture of Caucasians and Australozoids who originally lived in the Indian subcontinent, and their color was historically dark. So, because of this, can Indian skin detan after going to Europe? Maybe it can become 1 or 2 shades fairer, but it can't become as white as Caucasians. The concentration and ratio of melanin are genetically predetermined. And if you look at Indians, you'll find skin colors ranging from slightly yellowish to dark brown, because these skin colors have adapted according to India's environment. This debate between North and South India goes beyond color, as there are many other differences, particularly racial ones. Because in different regions of India, there was intermixing of different races due to India's invasion history and colonial past. That's why there are many dark-skinned people in North India, and you will also find many fair-skinned people in South India. In fact, North India has comparatively more Caucasoid admixture, and South India has comparatively more Australozoid admixture, because of which you will also see a lot of differences in facial features. So if you also want me to make a video, especially one that scientifically explains why there are so many differences in skin color and features between North Indians, South Indians, and even Northeast Indians, then let me know in the comments and I'll make a video on that too. But the main point here is that no one can become lighter than their original skin tone. So now the question that comes up here is, how do these celebrities become so many shades fairer overnight? Well, to understand that, let's go into a little detail and see what the process of melanin production actually is. So first things first, like I said, there are 2 types of melanin, the darker eumelanin and the lighter pheomelanin. And these are produced inside special cells called melanocytes. But no matter what kind of melanin is produced, how does it end up spreading throughout the skin? So for this, melanocytes pack the melanin they produce into packets called melanosomes and pass them on to other cells so that the entire skin can be evenly colored. Now, in this whole process, an enzyme called tyrosinase plays a very important role, and you'll understand why in a moment. So all in all, if you want to whiten the skin, you have to break the process of eumelanin formation itself, for which action can be taken at 3 levels. Number 1, somehow stop the production of eumelanin itself, or reduce eumelanin and increase the production of pheomelanin. Number 2, kill the melanocytes, that is, the cells that produce melanin. Number 3, destroy the melanosomes, meaning the packets of melanin pigment themselves. Now, if you act on the first level among these, you will get a temporary whitening effect. But if you act on the second or third level, the results here become comparatively long-term. So now that you have the gist, let's first focus on the first level and understand exactly how the skin becomes white. So the first level is to manipulate the process of melanin production itself. For this, look at this chart. Here you can see that both eumelanin and pheomelanin pigments are formed through a series of reactions. Now, don't get overwhelmed by looking at this. You mainly need to focus on just 2 things. First, you can see that the enzyme called tyrosinase is used a lot in the formation of eumelanin, which is the darker melanin. But this same enzyme is not as important in the formation of lighter melanin, that is, pheomelanin. The second thing is you can see that there's a molecule called DOPA, which is dihydroxyphenylalanine. When it combines with an amino acid called tyrosine, it ultimately forms eumelanin. But if instead of tyrosine, an amino acid called cysteine attaches to it, then instead of eumelanin, the body starts producing pheomelanin. What I mean to say is that here, just one amino acid molecule decides the fate of our skin color. So now let's understand what celebrities do. Through various cosmetic injections and treatments, they first artificially interfere with these 2 processes. Like for example, the most commonly used skin whitening agent is glutathione, which is heavily used in celebrity circles and the cosmetic industry. It is available in both pills and injections, and it is basically an antioxidant that traps the free radicals or reactive atoms produced in the body. Now, how does it stop melanin production? Look here. Do you see this tyrosinase? Like any other enzyme, this is a protein that is formed when the genetic code present in the DNA is expressed. And even after it is formed, This tyrosinase is only activated when our body supplies it with free radicals and copper ions. So what does glutathione do here? It traps the free radicals, which causes the production of melanin to drastically drop. Besides, along with glutathione, other antioxidants like hydroquinone and vitamin E are usually administered so that glutathione becomes even more potent. And with this combination treatment, tyrosinase activity is suppressed even more, which breaks the process of eumelanin creation. Now, this was just one mechanism of action of glutathione. Glutathione also works through other mechanisms of action as well. So, glutathione is basically made up of a combination of 3 amino acids: glutamate, glycine, and cysteine. So, being a rich source of cysteine, it also boosts the production of pheomelanin, which is the lighter melanin. So, in this way, basically it reduces the production of eumelanin and increases the production of pheomelanin, which are lighter pigments, giving the skin a much lighter tone. So, till now you have learned how tyrosinase can be inhibited through some antioxidants. Now, apart from this, there are 2 more ways by which the tyrosinase enzyme can be inhibited. These are used by people who want to whiten their skin. Mercury salts and koic acids block copper ions, which are necessary for activating the tyrosinase enzyme. Without copper ions, tyrosinase and melanin production decrease. Now, the third method is to use such skin whitening agents, which are commonly called retinoids. This drug class directly blocks the gene expression of the tyrosinase enzyme, which again causes eumelanin production to drop. Now, most of the skin whitening agents block the tyrosinase enzyme itself to whiten the skin. But, as I said earlier, there are other ways to make the skin white in which melanin production can be stopped without blocking tyrosinase activity. That means, like I said earlier, there are 2 major ways to lighten the skin by blocking tyrosinase activity. Either manipulate the tyrosinase enzyme to reduce eumelanin production, or manipulate the cysteine supply to increase pheomelanin production. Either way, the results will be good, but they will only be temporary. As soon as you stop taking these pills or injections, your original color will start coming back. And maybe the same thing happened in the case of celebrities like Priyanka Chopra. So, now the question is, how can you get long-term effects? Well, for that, many celebrities opt for some other semi-permanent procedures along with these procedures, which I would never recommend to anyone, in which melanocytes and melanosomes are directly destroyed. There are some chemicals like hydroquinone, which is the most commonly used skin bleaching agent, and azelaic acid. These are cytotoxic to the melanocytes that produce melanin, meaning they kill these cells that produce melanin. These chemicals are also used for skin whitening. These directly destroy the factory that produces melanin, and because they are destroying the body's own cells, they are cytotoxic and can even cause cancer in the future. So, till now we've talked about 2 methods. Number 1, stopping the activity of tyrosinase. Number 2, killing the melanocytes themselves. And the third is destroying the melanosomes, which are simply the packets of melanin pigment. This treatment is done with the help of lasers, in which the packets of melanin pigment are broken down into smaller pieces. And then these small particles are either absorbed by our immune system or naturally shed along with dead skin cells in a few days. So as you can see, there are many chemical and physical skin whitening agents that help celebrities lighten their skin color by not just 1 or 2, but several shades, and that too in a short amount of time. So, now comes the main question. Should an ordinary person also get such skin whitening treatments? Well, look, there are multiple things that matter here, and the first thing is their exorbitant price. So, the 2 most effective and comparatively safer treatments are glutathione injections and laser treatment. For laser whitening treatment, the cost of 1 session ranges from 4,000 to 40,000 rupees, and you need at least 6 sessions to see results. That means in total it can go up to 1 to 2 lakh rupees. And even after that, you will have to get follow-up sessions from time to time, which also have separate charges. And then, if we talk about glutathione injections, according to doctors, the recommended dosage for skin whitening is 900 milligrams, which has to be taken every week. This injection also can't be taken all at once, but has to be split into 2 or 3 injections. And you have to continue this for at least 2 to 3 weeks to see whitening effects. Now, a single glutathione injection costs around 40,000 rupees. So, if you consider the cost of the 3-week treatment, the cost shoots up straight to 3,60,000. And then if you want to take glutathione pills, you get a packet of 15 tablets, each of 500 milligrams, and the price is around 2,500 rupees per packet. Now, because the pills are less effective than the injections, if you follow the general guidelines, a person weighing 50 kilos will have to take 2 tablets daily. And even then, the absorption won't be as much as with the injection. Even with these tablets, the cost will easily range from 30 to 60,000 rupees, and results comparable to the injection are not guaranteed. On top of that, as I said earlier, this treatment is not completely permanent. Depending upon your skin type and color, you'll have to keep getting these treatments repeated every few months at regular intervals. Anyway, apart from the price, the other major factor that you should seriously consider is the side effects, which are sometimes hidden from the patient. With laser skin whitening, there's a high risk of scarring and infections, and in many cases, the skin has become excessively light, even causing leukoderma. Talking about glutathione, in February 2020, after a glutathione session at a spa in the Philippines, a woman named Cheryl G. Distor died of a heart attack. You might remember we discussed that glutathione traps free radicals, but these same free radicals help eliminate toxins from our body. Plus, apart from this, they also help maintain some important processes like the rhythm of our heart. And that's why in Cheryl's case, her death happened due to cardiac arrhythmia. Simply put, the rhythm of her heart got disturbed, which led to a heart attack. The Food and Drug Administration has even prohibited the use of intravenous glutathione injections for skin whitening purposes. The Food and Drug Administration has banned it because it has caused dangerous side effects like rashes, Stevens-Johnson syndrome, toxic epidermal necrolysis, and many others. Then, talking about hydroquinone, which is used in skin bleaches and also in glutathione injections. Long-term usage of this chemical can cause ochronosis, which is quite cosmetically disfiguring. But the main problem is that hydroquinone, as I said, is cytotoxic for melanocytes, so this chemical is a potential carcinogen, which again is banned by the Food and Drug Administration. That means in the worst cases, its usage can even lead to cancer. Then if we talk about mercury salts and koic acid, mercury salt is almost a borderline poison. As we saw in the chart, both of these block copper ions and stop the production of melanin. But I think I don't even need to tell you that mercury is literally poison. It's a toxic heavy metal. And even a dose as small as 0.0001 milligrams is enough to cause deadly effects like mercury poisoning and Minamata disease. And finally, when it comes to koic acid, its side effects aren't that serious. But still, a common side effect is contact dermatitis, which means the formation of blisters on the skin. Plus, don't forget, there's a whole nexus of fake cosmetic drugs in India as well. Recently, in 2018, the Directorate of Revenue Intelligence in Bengaluru seized illegal skin whitening drugs worth $1.5 million. And in the same year, the Central Drug Standard Control Organization formed a team of 150 officials and raided 8 cities, where it was found that illegal skin whitening drugs worth crores of rupees are being manufactured and smuggled in India. And as a result, you'll find many cases where people go for skin whitening, but instead their skin gets burned, becomes darker. They experience hyperpigmentation, rashes, and pimples start appearing. And in the worst cases, as we've seen, overdoses or long-term exposure can even lead to cancer and death. And all these risks for what? Literally, there isn't a single scientific claim or evidence that a lighter skin tone is more attractive. This is only and only our colonial past, which has planted this belief in our minds and created this mindset. From the Mughals to the British, from the French to the Portuguese, whoever ruled over us always had a fairer skin tone than us. And that's why we associated lighter skin tone with power, royalty, high class, and elitism. And don't worry, this happens in every culture. In every country in the world, you'll find features that are considered attractive in their cultures. And even if those features seem weird to people around the world, and even if they have nothing to do with the universal standard of attractiveness, take the example of the Kayan tribe in Myanmar, where women with long necks are considered beautiful, and that's why they wear brass rings around their necks, just so their necks can become longer. Then in Mauritius, being overweight is considered attractive for women. So there, parents actually force their daughters to eat 16,000 calories a day so that they can gain weight. 16,000 calories. An average person only eats about 2,000 calories. Now leave the example of tribes. Take a country like South Korea. It's a global standard that girls around the world prefer manly guys, tall, dark, and handsome, And that's why many guys in India also have beard insecurity. But South Korean guys actually have a pretty feminine look, and even girls in India who are South Korean fans find these feminine traits attractive. Now, look at another irony. On one hand, Indians want to be fair-skinned, while on the other hand, white Americans want to be dark. A whole $1.8 billion tanning industry has come up today. People pay money themselves to get chemical treatments and get tanned. A global survey in 2022 found that 8 out of 10 Europeans consider tanned skin more attractive than fair skin. What an irony this is. The British left, but their mindset is still here. 70 years after independence, we still desire fair skin at any cost, even by using dangerous chemicals. And on the other hand, those people want to be dark or caramel like us. And that's why this entire insecurity is only in our minds. Because just think a little logically, our skin color was the perfect, unique survival attribute for us, which became our strength. And today, we are alive because of it. And strength is real beauty, right? Not weakness. But of course, society has a big role in making us insecure about our own strengths. Since childhood, we've always seen in movies that the hero and heroine are always fair-skinned, more desirable, more successful, and more powerful than us. And then we've seen ads on matrimonial sites where, because of this upbringing, there's an over-demand for the bride and groom to be fair-skinned. Even today, you can see in friend circles that dark skin is always made fun of. Since childhood, they are called slurs like kalu or crow. So basically, all of us together keep injecting this idea that Indian skin tone is inferior to white skin tone. Today, India is free, but mentally we are still slaves to the thinking of the British. As long as we keep considering our color, our insecurity, and our inferiority, it will always stop us from projecting our unique standard of beauty to the world. Just like South Korea is able to do today. Ultimately, it's confidence that is supremely attractive, which only comes from being comfortable in your own skin, from owning your skin color. Just like South Korea is owning its Asian beauty standards and projecting them to the world, changing the world's conventional and colonial beauty standards, we Indians should do the same. Because, and I repeat once again, it is the confidence of being comfortable in your own skin color that is scientifically and universally supremely attractive.